Okay, and welcome to week 7 of the Draft League. Now, this will be the last week for the Draft League. My last opponent, KidMilk, they're going to be running a team of Executor, Breed Bonnet, Roaring Moon, Rever Room, NBAZ, and Walking Wake. Now, unfortunately, as last week, I also lost all sorts of vocal recording and sound recording for this. So we're just having to record this today. Date of recording is April 5th. Anyway, here's the lead, right? So we ended up leading a amazing lead of Pelipper and Ditto, and the Ditto gets the imposter of the Roaring Moon. We love to see it. We have predictability, like we can see what the Roaring Moon has, what sort of set it is, right? And we set the weather so we can KO the Lomise, and we can set our own trick room, right? Sorry, our own tailwind, not trick room. Oh my gosh. And we see the moves here, pretty unique move set with an earthquake on there. It's usually something that you don't see on a Roaring Moon too often. So the breaking swipe. Anyway, this turn, let's see what we do this turn. I guess I'm just commentating over what I'm doing this game. But, there's a sunny day. Unsure, I forgot why the sunny day came out, but it did. And, of course, to proc the photosynthesis, duh. And U-turn onto the Roaring Moon. Now, the reason we did a U-turn is because we don't want to lose the Ditto, like, turn 1. And we want to be able to set up that Psychic Terrain to use with our Iron Crown. Of course, we've been running a TR Iron Crown team for the entirety of and we lost the boosted Roaring Moon knockoff, Oko's bulk set DD. So, at least we know that. And at least we were able to set up the Psychic Terrain and pick off the KO with that risky Hurricane, which without rain is really risky, as we may have missed that. It's not 100% accurate move, so we could have missed, definitely. But we picked up that KO very clean. Now, eliminating the Roaring Moon, that's a big threat. Sure, we lost DD, supporting Mon, sure, but at least here we can bring our Iron Crown in, and they have a Rever Room. They bring out their shiny Rever Room. No way, full odds. I don't know if it was full odds or not. Anyway, we proc our booster energy here, right, and use our special attack. So here, what we can do is actually Sun works out in our favor, and we can Expanding Force on on both of these spawn. Now, we're unsure of the Terra of the Rev Room. Didn't really look at the Terra types. Let me see. Terra Steel Rever Room. So yeah, definitely the Sunny Day helps us with our Pelipper, and we're able to do damage where damage is needed. We're gonna go for a Terra here on the Terra Water here on the crown. We're not too sure what moves the Rev Room has, but at least we know. Here, why horsepower? Actually, that defensive Terra really went in our favor. We'll go ahead and Oko the little bug. Goodbye, little bug. And now I think we just finish up with Weather Ball Up, and that brings our game 1 to a surprising. I think that's it for the first game. Actually, wow, I'm really surprised that it really went well. Definitely losing the Ditto was, losing the DD wasn't too bad. It actually put us in a spot where we wanted to. Sometimes, when it comes to competitive Pokemon, you want things to die. So in instances like that, you'll make that trade. And we were able to pick up the Roaring Moon turn 1, which is really nice. And here we're just left with 1v3, and we're able to pick off. Now we are opting in to swap the into the Ditto, just in case, right? We don't want to play stuff really safe here. We also want to get that information to what this Brute Bonnet has when it comes to movesets, and we also put the Psychic Seed investment into it. They do have a Terra Steel Brute Bonnet, so the Weather Ball will work into it as well. I mean, not that it wouldn't have worked before, but we definitely were able to, pick that off. Anyway, Weather Ball onto the Brute Bonnet. Good information here is that it took half health from a Weather Ball, and you can kind of gauge how bulky it is. You definitely saw how much damage we did to it, and how much damage we took with the Pelipper. So all this is good last minute information that we need for the future games for game 2 and game 3. We do end off with a win that game 1, and that's really good. That Indeedee dying to that knockoff was something that was definitely not expected. Not that DD being on the board would make that much of a difference. We could have, still had a follow me, right? Kind of follow me on it, and we would have been annoying to the Rever Room and to the Lumise. So definitely taking out that Roaring Moon was definitely helpful. Here we go ahead and we're thinking, same lead, but DD died. So I think we're gonna lead the same with the Pelipper and the Ditto, just so we can be able to copy either the Walking Wake. But actually, we're deciding on an Ogre Pod. Hindsight 2020 again, right? So we're not really thinking clearly. We could be hyper offensive. I'm not sure why we decided not to go with the Pelipper this round, as that Pelipper was definitely the Kingmaker? Playmaker? Is it Playmaker? I don't know what we decide here. A whole minute and we're watching it play back. I'm watching all this playback and I'm like, this is just a simple choice. We don't bring, at no point we bring the Ogre Pawn, right, against this team. And maybe we bring the Morpeko for fake out pressure, but then again, they do have a lot of stuff that is Terra Steel. So essentially the whole, I think 3 out of the 6 Mon were Terra Steel, that being Executor, Reverum, Brute Bonnet. Lumise was Terra Ghost. Roaring Moon is Terra Ground. And Walking Wake is Terra Electric. So the Morpeko would not do too much. We do lead with Indeedee Ditto. Trying to set up a... trying to set up... Oh, I'm sorry. Ooh. That I don't know where that yawn came from, but this Jumanji 2 having Terra Steel on there, Terra Electric, does complicate things for us. Not too sure what to do here. We're bringing 2 support. Essentially, we copied a support mon, thus stopping me in my tracks, right? And now we're faced 2 support mons against offensive mon and a support mon. So that's something that you don't want to see, especially when one of the support mons is kind of like is free to set up Tailwind on the other side. So we opted for the Trick Room. It does make speed tiers kind of weird having Tailwind Trick Room on there, because you don't know what is fast or what is slow. Definitely a game you don't want to play if not all your mon are statted to min speed. And we do see the Terra Electric coming in from the Walking Wake here. Now, if I were KidMilk, I would have gone ahead and targeted my DD. My DD is kind of annoying, but they go ahead and predict the switch. I mean, well, maybe they predicted the switch, but that was a really good KO, really free KO on that Pelipper, which was a pain in their behind last game. Honestly, don't know why I did what I did, but Trick Room is going up now. So it's it's gonna make everything a little bit weird when it comes to the speed tiers. So, and we want to, so we're aligning ourselves in a position where we just do damage with Iron Crown and use Follow Me on DD. That way DD at some point dies, and we're able to copy whatever mon they have, since we did just lose our playmaker, which is the Pelipper. We do opt in for a Helping Hand Expanding Force here. Unsure as to why. Hindsight 2020 again. It's gonna, a switch goes in. And I don't know who or what is faster, and I don't know what has Encore and what not has Encore. So I believe here I get something happens and something happens. We'll see. Anyway, this Expanding Force is not going to do anything to that Brute Bonnet having its dark typing. So Expanding Force, nothing to the, and that indeed he dies. So we're kind of locked in at this point. We're locked in to having either Brute Bonnet, Walking Wake, or whatever the third mon is. They do bring out the Roaring Moon. Now Roaring Moon is pretty fast, and since their Tailwind is up, I'm kind of up. I should be faster. Now this is difficult because of the type advantage here. It really sucks. I really can't do what this one is, what Iron Crown is genuinely designed to do, which is just like the funny button, right? The funny button for him is Expanding Force. So we're not, we don't have the potential to do that. I'm like, maybe I'll Gleams, get a little bit of chip damage, and I'm not wanting to switch to the Ditto in the back because last time we got knocked off and it died. So our best bet here is to have Indeedee die, or Indeedee do chip damage, or Indeedee's what's gonna do everything, and Indeedee dies. We're fine with that. We wanted either the DD to die eventually, so we could switch in, but we're switching into a defensive Brute Bonnet, Brute Bonnet. So here we go with our Ditto here, getting that imposter ability. Now this Brute Bonnet definitely has Spore, Crunch, Sucker Punch, right? Because we did copy the Brute Bonnet earlier. We have nothing here for the Roaring Moon. At this point, I felt like the game was kind of done, and I was kind of locked in. But that wasn't going to stop me from trying and getting some information. Even though my opponent definitely won this, I wanted to get some information out of it. Now we couldn't Terra Ghost into the Ditto slot, so we opted in for a Terra Water. Reason for that is that Roaring Moon has Earthquake, which is really weird. I do go ahead and Spore the Roaring Moon here, and I am going to do Tachyon Cutter into it because we're trying to get rid of that, as it's one of the biggest threats on the board. Oh, actually, I forgot I misclicked and clicked on the Mushroom. We did get a crit on the Mushroom, so that is really good. And we can also crunch into that Roaring Moon slot, to keep doing chip damage with our Ditto on our end, right? So, and the thing has lefties, so I mean we kind of have to hope for critical hits all around the board here. We're not. I wasn't too positive that was going to happen. We can Rage Powder, but their Brute Bonnet is unaffected, so it's definitely an uphill battle here. Here we still go for the Rage Powder in case of the turn 1 Wake Up, which, unlucky, it has happened in the past where they wake up turn 1. We get put to sleep here. Not a big deal, because their Roaring Moon is asleep as well. We also know at this point of the game that we've essentially lost. There's really no getting out of this position unless, you know, we get so lucky with it having 3 turns of sleep, by having 1 turn of sleep. I went for the protect anyway, just in case, right? That way we don't take any sort of damage. Because, you know, at this point they've had 1 turn of sleep. We were expecting them to wake up, never lucky. Oh, always, like, that's crazy, right? Turn 1, wake up, protect on the crown, and then the moon is gonna wake up as well into the crown. And guess what's gonna happen? Protect, yep, and then we just put it back to sleep. So at this point, we're just delaying the inevitable. So we did put it to sleep again, and now we are. I mean, I think the Blue Bonnet also hits the crunch, so we're safe. Expecting my crown to like die, either way, or doing chip damage. They're really at this point. They need the crown to die, and they have it. They have us cornered with that Rage Powder and Roaring Moon on the side. So we're definitely not in a good position. We can't put it to sleep. We can only do minimal damage to their Brute Bonnet, and the Tachyon Carter can only do so much. So here goes 1, here goes 2, no crits, and then we go for our. They go for their Spore again, that's essentially what's gonna happen. It's who gets the Spore, how many turns of sleep. That's what this game is at this point, right? So, and that crunch not doing anything to that Brute Bonnet. That crunch, you know, would have been better directed to the Roaring Moon, right? And going for another protect here. And then at this point, I'm like, should we target Roaring Moon now? But, you know, at this point, since we've already put too much pressure on the Brute Bonnet, and we need that Brute Bonnet to stop putting us to sleep, we want to go ahead and make sure that it's KO'd. Hopefully we get a crit. We're hoping for a crit. That's literally the only way we win this type of situation. And they hit us with a knockoff, which is enough to KO our crown. And that does it for game 2. Now we'll go to a game 3. You know, really annoying to see this type of thing happen. Right, I was not expecting them to target my DD, but makes sense because of the follow me, right? Just might as well safe bet and put my crown to sleep. That's what I would have done if I was my opponent. But, you know, at this point, we're trying to knock out one other Pokemon just to make the recording look better, right? For the upload, make sure it's not a 3-0 type of thing, like it was for them during game 1. The game 1 was really great, you know, and we get the knock up the knock on the Brute Bonnet, making it 2v0, right? 2v1 essentially at this point, but about to take out my my Brute Bonnet. So, you know, also trying to figure out damage calc. So Sucker Punching the Walking Wing slot to see how much damage that does. Flamethrower will be enough to take us out here, so we kind of, you know, we lose game 2, but hey, that's fine. We got game 1. We go to it's a best of 3. We go into game 3. Actually pretty exciting. At this point, during the original recording, from what I was able to salvage from it, I was really excited going into this game 3. This was going to be the last game of the draft league, if I didn't win, right? Because I just had picked up a win on United Mike, and maybe this could have put me in contention to maybe winning, and playing more in the draft league, right? Making I think top 4, right? But I wasn't too sure. Anyway, we were gonna play, and I did not see what I selected there, so I can't give too much commentary on that. And again, we have about a minute. We've already hard locked our 4 for the last game. I think I brought Ogre Pawn, which, gosh, Ogre Pawn, yeah, not really a good mon for me to be bringing into this team composition. I guess I can like Oko the Roaring Moon, but it's yeah. Anyway, here we go with Ogre Pawn and Taro. We have fake out pressure here, right? We're gonna Super Fang onto the Roaring Moon, and we're gonna essentially double target that slot. Not really worried about the support mon. Maybe I should have KO'd the. I mean, I had Sturdy, so I should have taken out their Elumise here. But I think I just decided to go and hit the Roaring Moon. As the Roaring Moon was a big problem for us that last, and here we go. I'm being undecisive. Do I want to get rid of their person that can use Encore, Tailwind, and is just a good overall support mon, or do I want to take out their Roaring Moon? And boom, Breaking Swipe does quite a lot of damage and gets the attack drop on both my mon. Doesn't do too much, and also doesn't do much. That first turn was a deciding factor of how this game would have gone. Essentially, again, they have the ability to Breaking Swipe once more, and even if I bring my NDD and I'm able to do some work with it, right, Breaking Swipe still does quite a lot of damage to that NDD and lowers the attack for my Ogre Pawn. So at this point, I'm kind of like, this lead is kind of, I should have done fake out and hit the Roaring Moon. Waited for, that would have saved my both Sturdy and my Sash. But again, we weren't, hindsight, again, looking back, we kind of learned from our mistakes, which is what's good about rewatching a recording like this. I'm sure if I would have had my audio, just hit upload, right? But now that we have the recording, I can go back and maybe take a thing or two from this game, right? Learn a thing or two from my own mistakes. And we're seeing that, we're just getting absolutely bodied here. Okay, there's a bit of silence there. I did have to walk out for a second, but I am back. The game is still going, and we're still seeing me struggle with this uphill battle. I should have, and again, I keep saying it, right? But I should have let Ndidi and Ogre Pawn or something like that, just to, kind of prevent the tailwind from going up and stuff of that nature, right? We do survive a Hydro Steam into our DD, and we do figure out what item that guy, the Walking Wake, was carrying. We do get Breaking Swept, and again, it does so much damage, so brutal. We get a double knockout. We do have a fake out, but Psychic Terrain is out, and we are left with purely my and they have the speed advantage here, and we're left with my crown. It's kind of a struggle here to figure out what I'm gonna do. Kind of locked into, hey, we gotta figure something out, right? Do chip damage to the Walking Wake, right? Even though we're not doing any damage to the Roaring Moon this turn, but I think at this point it's just game over. They do end up they do end up pulling out their Roaring Moon and bringing out their Linize. Unsure if that was a misplay or what that was, but it definitely worked in our favor. They did have game there. Not much that I could do. Yep. Our Morpeko goes down. Walking Wake is definitely so much faster. And, we kind of messed ourselves up there with Ogre Pawn. I feel, again, Ditto had been the MVP of this entire draft so far. So why not run Ditto? Why not run Ditto at the end, right? Why bring Ogre Pawn and change things up? And we brought Morpeko and Ogre Pawn. Of course, we ended up, and Morpeko was still good. We could have kept Morpeko and brought Ditto, and everything was fine. I feel like Pelipper at some point we definitely saw it being weaker. It was good against the Brute Bonnet, right? But that does it for week 7 of the Draft League. Congratulations to my opponent yet again. And now that the Draft League is over, Draft League really helped me pass the time, and now Pokemon Champions is just a few days away. I am so excited to finally be done with Scarlet and Violet. I have been playing Scarlet and Violet since 2023. My first regional was San Diego Regional for Scarlet and Violet. So yeah, and I have things to play like Pokopia and Fire Red. But yes, I'm so glad I'm finally done with Scarlet and Violet. Thank you so much to Draft League, and you guys rock. Later.